What is up, guys? Sawcasm here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we are actually analyzing a player's gameplay, and I submitted this post on Reddit saying I'll analyze some gameplay, so if you submitted yours, don't worry, I'll get to it. And yeah, so we're actually taking a look at G-Love's gameplay, currently playing Rehgar on the map Haunted Mine. So let's go. So we start off, he is getting harassed a little bit by the Murky, and the Rehgar drops a super early healing. We're not exactly sure what the intention of that was, as he will have his healing touch coming up within a few seconds anyway. Could use that to heal. Plus that health regen orb would have perfectly healed him up. So kind of a waste of a healing ward, but it's all good. So the enemies are pushing pretty hard. You have the Rehgar with the Inspire and the Murky over there. Now, when you are a solo lane, I definitely do suggest you play defensive, and you know, especially if you're outnumbered, especially if you're against more than one player. But he's playing not only defensive, he's just doing absolutely nothing. At least hit a minion a couple of times when your minions are pushing, so that you're not taking the damage like you are now when there are none of your minions, and you still get a couple of hits off, do a little bit of damage on those minions, and start pushing them back, so that you could push the lane back for when the mines come up. And that's really your goal as a solo lane, you know, stay safe, but push the minions out when you can, and still be safe doing so. Now, I'm not exactly sure what your intention was in terms of running here to the enemy's tower. I mean, you know what you did wrong. I don't really need to explain it. But if you're trying to retreat, obviously that's not the way to go. And yeah, so keep in mind with the Haunted Mines, you really want to push out the lane right before the mines come up, if possible. Now, I understand you're in a 2v1 situation. You did have Nova to help you, so it kind of was a 2v2, but Nova's a stealth character, so it's not exactly a 2v2, you know, she doesn't sustain, but you did have her presence in the area, so you could have, you did have a little room to breathe, push out the lane, which you did not do. So now you don't actually have vision of the enemy team, and there's only one of your teammates currently in the mines. The Tychus just entered the mines, so Rehgar, rather, excuse me. But Rehgar, wow, I just got the two StarCraft Terrans mixed up. But yeah, so Rehgar just entered the mines, and you do have Nova, so you don't really have too much force in here, and you entered pretty blind. And I honestly, I didn't even watch this replay yet, and I didn't see the fog of war where the enemies were, but I kind of saw that coming. You just walked in kind of blindly, and if the enemies are missing, and you're walking in, somewhere where you don't have vision of, especially an objective, you really have to keep in mind that there's a good chance that the enemies are going to potentially do exactly what they did. Now, luckily for you, you did end up meeting up with your teammates, and it worked out really well. But if the enemy team was a little bit more coordinated, they definitely, and at higher levels of play, they definitely could have collapsed on you, jumped on you, and easily taken you out. Now, I can see based on the player action, this is a little bit of a lower level game, and that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. Based on, you easily see it when the Murky just jumped in, for no reason. He didn't do anything, didn't bubble or anything. You took the shots from the AoE from the Golem here, and excuse me, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I'm actually coughing a little bit. But yeah, so you took the hits from the AoE from the Golem. It gives you quite a few, a little bit of warning, and you really need to get used to reacting and expect that those AoEs are going to be coming, especially as a melee hero. Now, I'm not exactly sure what you're doing sticking around here, so there are times when I do suggest, instead of backing, the whole team actually goes through the top to the either, the Merc camp, the Bruisers in the middle, or the Siege camp. But if your team's not doing that, even if it's the right play, you can't do that solo, so you have to back. So I'm not exactly sure what your intention was in terms of actually going, just walking around, not going back yet, and it really just wasted a little bit of time that you could have used to be doing anything. So this is one of the main things that I see wrong with lower level players, is that it's a little bit more idle. Like, you're not really decisive on what you want to do, if that makes sense. So I see people, deciding in the game whether they want to go back or they don't want to go back, and they're really caught up on what decision to make. So make any decision, even if it's the wrong decision. That's a general good rule of thumb. And if you are unsure of what to do, stick with your team. They usually will. Sticking with your team's usually the safe bet, so it's not always the most effective, but it is sometimes the safe bet. So you're doing a good job defending up here. I think this is the right play to send one person to defend. Now, Nova, personally, I would like to see the Nova help at the bottom right now, or just you to help at the bottom. I would like to see one person defend this, because you really obviously don't need more than one person to defend this, as you see here. Now, potentially your team could have came up to help and defend this keep. However, it doesn't look like, or this fort rather, excuse me, I'm still getting the hang of those names, but it doesn't appear as if they're going to do so. So now's a time where, especially as a healer, you know, this could be different if you're more of a assassin or specialist, but especially as a healer, it's super important for you to be with your team at this time when they are making a potentially big and important push. Now, the enemy team did just capture the siege camp, so they are doing some pushing, and you guys are equalizing it out with getting your own siege camp. Once again, that healing ward kind of unnecessary. You do have a heal on a pretty short cooldown, so you could have just used your actual heal spell instead of this healing ward, but, you know, whatever works. And so your team's getting pushed back at the bottom, and you're heading back up to the top. Now, this is definitely an issue because this is not a game where, like League of Legends, where you get a benefit and you can farm up if you are in a lane by yourself. You don't actually farm up any, more. You don't get stronger by farming minions, except for certain specific situations, such as Asmodan. And you're doing an okay job defending, but I just feel like you would be a lot more effective actually assisting your team down at the bottom, especially as the healer. And then, so basically what you're doing now is preventing them from getting a keep. Whereas Nova is already trying to do that, which, she is a ganking character, so it is debatable whether or not she should be the one up here defending. But your whole team was at the bottom, except for Nova, and they were making a big push. You definitely should have been with them, so we can beat that topic to death. But yeah, so now that you guys are actually defending the top and kind of pushing it out in preparations for the mines, which, once again, this is the good play, because when the mines come up, you don't want to have the enemy minions push towards your fortress. You want to be the ones where your minions are pushed towards their fortress. So, and with that said, you also want to be able to potentially get the level 10 advantage if possible. Now, this isn't always the case, but going into the mines, the second mines with a level 10 advantage, it's not always, like I said, not always possible, but because you do have a level lead or a little bit of experience lead, it is very possible for you to be able to do that. If not get at level 10 before you go into the mines, it's possible to make it so that you hit level 10 while you're in the mines, and that is the benefit of having people in both lanes right before the mines come up. You see, you're very, very close to level 10, and by clearing out the rest of these skulls, you could potentially be getting some experience that you so desperately need to level up. So there you go, guys. You did level up from you could actually get the experience from the kill, not from the skulls, excuse me. Little brave fart there. But yeah, so you did actually hit level 10, so that is super, super good. And once again, this is a time where you want to be decisive, grouping up with your team, take this down as fast as possible, so then you and your team can progress towards other objectives. Now, I'm not sure why you're kind of standing here idly. Anything would have been better there than just standing around. Even a couple of auto attacks could have help you take down the boss a little bit faster, and it really feels like a lot of times you're just, I don't know how to explain, just not reacting to anything. So do anything even if it's the wrong thing. And now your team does a good job. You get a nice little gank, and the enemy Jaina is down. So this is going to give you guys an advantage when defending. You are down on skulls, so it is important to usually defend when you are down. I don't completely disagree with this push right here because they do have two enemies rather down currently, so you could potentially take out this keep. But once again, it's a matter of undecisiveness, and it looks like your team does not wish to commit, which I don't 100% disagree with. But they did have two enemies top, and they had a couple of dead, so you guys really could have pushed that down pretty quick, especially since you do have Vala, Janor. Janor, did I just combine Raynor and Jaina? Well, that might be a match made in heaven as far as like a celebrity dating name. I don't know. But you do have Raynor, gives your whole team a bonus attack speed. You have Jaina, great at pushing down siege. You have Vala, does a ton of damage. So potentially you could have, taken out that keep before this boss even came up. You do have also heals, and you have a shield with the lightning shield. I don't think you get that yet until level 13, I believe, actually. But, you do have a lot of sustain through your heals, and you have a lot of siege damage from the rest of your team. Now, your team is currently going over to the Bruiser camps, and they are potentially looking for a fight. And their Murky is down, so this means for a couple seconds it is a 5v4 situation. However, you and Raynor opt to go for the siege camp. Now, this is super dangerous because you could have potentially won this team fight here, and especially since the Murky was down for a couple seconds, it was a 5v4 rather in your favor. And I understand that Murky comes up super quick, so it's not like it's permanent, but you do have that couple of seconds of opportunity where you could have potentially snatched that Bruiser camp. And excuse me, guys, my production is a little bit off and wonky, and in terms of the camera and stuff like that, I'm still getting used to replaying, casting replays, stuff like that. Definitely not my strong suit yet, but I've been practicing a ton, and I believe you guys will see a huge improvement from my previous casts and commentaries as far as replays, because I've been really grinding it out, practicing to get better, and that is what I'm going to continue to do. So, with that said, Murky's Egg is over here. I mean, that's just a matter of spotting that, recognizing that, and then acting upon it. Anyone on your team could have potentially taken that out. You have a Nova, who is one of the best at sniping out, you know, backline targets. You have a bunch of ranged heroes. I'm not saying you're the one who should have done that, but someone on your team should have absolutely reacted to that Murky Egg, especially when he was down, and you could have put your team in a severe advantage going into these mines. So, over here, your Jaina is backing, and you are able to take out the enemy Jaina, so that is a great time to initiate, even though your Jaina is not currently with you. Like I said, were able to get a quick pick and give you guys the advantage, in which case it's good to push that advantage and attempt to force a fight because your Jaina actually was returning. Now, you guys are getting pushed back a little bit over here, and instead of going into the mines with your team, I'm not exactly sure what your reasoning was for, you know, sticking out here and just, you know, hanging around. Like that's all I can say. You're just hanging around, sticking. I can't really think of what else you were doing there getting accomplished. You were not really getting much accomplished there, whereas you could have potentially already been set up in the mines. You have, you know, a couple of heroes at each skull location to take out the skulls as soon as they come out, but instead you kind of wasted a little time. I believe the word is pussyfooting, and such a great word, but you wasted time, and that time you could have spent setting up, you just wasted idly, and that just seems to be the case with a lot of things. Just like I said, a lot of idle time, and now you have a great opportunity to get that big skull golem over here, because you did take out the Jaina, so great on you guys for doing that. Now you have a couple of different options. You know, you can force a fight or start the golem and wait for them to come to you and fight, but they're going to be at a disadvantage because their Jaina is down. So once you push them out like this, there's no need to continue pushing. Like, you're way overextended here. First of all, you should have been right with your team. Like I said, especially as the healer, you don't want to be pulling any weird flank routes, because there's absolutely no need for that. You are already, you know, in an advantage. There's no need to put yourself at a disadvantage by putting yourself in a 3v1 situation where they can potentially kill you and even up the tides of the game and make it so that they could contest the golem. But instead, you are able to get pretty much a free golem, and now you are in an advantage. So good job on that, you know, recovering from the early deficit and making it a rather mid-game lead. So you do have quite a substantial golem here, and in this case, it's definitely beneficial for your team to have multiple people pushing, if not the majority of your team, if not your whole team pushing. Now, the question here is, will you be able to, how many people, how many resources would it take to defend this fortress versus what are the chances of, you know, getting the fortress at the top? Now, to be honest, this fortress is going down no matter what, so was it necessary to have 3 people down here? Absolutely not, because one person, say a Vala, especially Vala, would have been able to take out this golem before he got to the keep, which is the second inner structure anyway. So really your only goal here was to take it out before it got to that and was able to take out the fortress. So you don't need 3 people to do that. One would have been absolutely fine, whereas you could have potentially in this time been pushing with your golem and the rest of your team to make it so that you guys can push all the way over to this keep, because it is such a big golem, 86 skulls in, you know, mid-game, couple minutes, or not couple minutes, but 10-15 minutes into the game. That is absolutely huge, and look at how hard of a time they are having with 5 people trying to take it down. So had you and more of your team been there to actually assist in this push, this could have easily resulted in a fortress for you guys. Now, there is a case to be made. A lot of people will say, well, we were playing safe, and I don't mean to use this derogatory voice, but well, we were playing, you know, we were playing safe. And this is another problem that I see a lot, especially in lower level games, is that people either, you know, blow leads and they take a lead they have and they just throw it completely, or they don't push a lead that they have enough. So you guys had a huge golem, and that's the perfect opportunistic time to push down a second keep, you know, in this particular situation. Not always. It, of course, depends on, you know, the situation and the both team composition, how many skulls you actually did get with that golem. But since your golem was so substantial, it really would have been beneficial to push this down with your golem. Now, it looks like you are, you know, you're recognizing that, hey, we have a chance to push down this keep and potentially take down and gain a very substantial lead. However, it does seem as if, once again, well, I was going to say you're being a little bit indecisive, but that's not really the case. It's more so if they are defending, as they should be, absolutely. But now you really just need to commit to taking this down, and fighting under the keep would not be beneficial for you guys. So you did eventually take out the keep, and that's good. You know, you recognize you can take out the keep, but for some reason you decide to fight. And I don't completely disagree with this, but your Vala is getting extremely low. And it's time to, you know, you need to know when to back out, as you do need to know when to initiate, when to push stuff down. But backing out is a skill that people don't recognize. Now, keep in mind, like I said about the golem before, yes, you did get the keep, but if you would have pushed this down while the golem was still pushing, there would have been a little bit health left on the golem, and you would have had plenty of time to take out this bruiser camp, take out potentially the siege camp. All this stuff could have been pushing out while your team was entering the mines and preparing for the mines. Now, keep in mind that that would have been absolutely huge. They would have been forced to defend for however long it would take them to, you know, take out that stuff, all of those camps, and that could potentially really give you a huge advantage and push the lead for getting at another huge skull golem. And you could really see how this could kind of snowball if you are properly pushing your leads when you get the opportunity. Now, is it always the case that, you know, you have an opportunity to push down a keep with an 84 skull golem 15 minutes in the game? No, it's not always the best thing for you to be doing on the Haunted Mines, because of course it depends on your team composition and, you know, the level difference. But you guys did have a level advantage, and you could have pushed that a little bit more. I know I just ranted on that topic for so long, but so worth it, I think. And good, you know, good job on you escaping. But one thing I noticed here is that you always have near full mana, and when I play Rehgar, that's absolutely not the case, because I'm constantly, you know, healing people up, trying to get anyone to full health. If there's anyone who's not full health and you have a full set of mana or a full mana bar, you're not performing as you should. You should definitely try to keep your team full health when possible. Now, I do suggest this Jaina just get the heck out of here for now and possibly push down a wave of minions, or possibly start a merc camp depending on how fast you could clear them. I think that she, you know, hanging around here with so many enemies in here is just asking for trouble. And if the enemies don't kill them, or don't kill Jaina, there's really not much. Even if they don't kill her, there's not much you get done here by yourself with half health. Now, waiting around for your team, I mean, obviously, it's good to go in with your team, but in the meanwhile, she could have been pushing down this wave, pushing down a siege camp, doing anything productive rather than just hanging around, getting one Q off on the enemy Jaina and then running away, which is exactly what happened. Now, it looks like for some reason, I'm not sure why this Nova decided to enter the mines again, but just a little mishap. So, you guys did come up a little bit late, and like I said, if Jaina was starting the bruiser camp in the middle right now, you guys could have potentially secured that by the time they all come out of the mines. You see they're all top, so they don't even look to contest that bruiser camp. That really could have... I mean, late game bruisers aren't so useful. The main use right now, late game, for the siege camps, these camps in particular, is so that you capture them, and they, you know, you capture them with time so that they come over here at just the right time, and they can assist on defending the enemy's golem. So, of course, it is a timing thing. It's something that a lot of new players still don't know about yet, but that is super, super effective, because they just deal a little bit extra damage to the golem over here, and they can't get hit because they hit it at range. So, this is a cool little trick. But, yeah, so you could have been getting all those camps within that time. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as if anyone was doing that. So, you guys are doing a good job. You have about an even golem, and, like I said, you just want to keep using those Qs, keep using your heals when possible. You see Raynor's a little bit low health. I know it's not the biggest deal because you guys are right by your fountain, and you know, you're pretty much all at full health, but you do have so high mana, it really leads me to believe that you're not utilizing that when the cooldown is off. That's absolutely what you should be doing. So, yeah, you guys took that out very, very well. You're about to hit level 20, so you have a couple of options here. And either you want to start getting some camps here. They are still pushed back with their golems, so that gives you a couple seconds of time to take down a camp. It's difficult because teams don't always cooperate. When you know the best thing to do, and, well, I'm not going to say the best thing to do, but when you know a good play and the team doesn't follow through, I know it's frustrating. But it would have been good if you guys would have pushed a camp here, because you are down a player right now. Nova did get taken out. Honestly, I'm not sure how. But you did get taken out, and fighting or trying to push something down 5v4 is not beneficial, even if you do have your heroic abilities up. Once again, you gotta, I'm gonna open up, let's see. All right, let's open that up so we can see when you're using your Qs. So it is on cooldown right now, and good job on you, but really, you know, this is difficult because you are a melee hero and you are retreating. So I'm not going to say, you know, dive in there and risk dying, because it's definitely not worth the risk, even if you could potentially save, well, no, if you could potentially save your teammate without dying, then yes, it is worth the risk. But if you're going to die anyway, then it's not worth the risk. But yeah, so you want to, oh man, this is just dangerous. Ooh, great heal actually on that Jaina. That was actually really, really good. Once again, your heal is up, your chain heal. I see you're trying to use it, and it seems you are using it a little bit more now. Maybe I just wasn't noticing how often you're using it, but you should really never be at full mana with Rehgar, or pretty much any healer really. So you guys hit level 20, and now you have a 5-person advantage. So this could actually be huge. This is where you want to force a fight. When you're level 20 and the enemies are 19, you guys seem to, you know, take advantage of that, seem to be knowing that, and that is absolutely good. So whether you're forcing a fight at the enemy's keep or you're forcing a fight at, you know, an important objective, it's important to either, oh man, you guys just got bursted down right there. Well, it's important to push your lead somehow, whether it's through forcing a fight or, you know, getting an objective that the enemies don't want to fight at because you do have a level 20 advantage. So once again, well, not once again, but now you guys have a level advantage and also a person advantage. It was, for a couple of seconds there, 3v2, and instead of fighting, which you absolutely perfectly could have done, you could have even taken out this Jaina 1 versus 1. You did have quite a big window of opportunity there. Of course, now the Rehgar did show up after, but that wasn't for a while. So you did have a window of opportunity where you could have easily taken out that Jaina, or if you did initiate when your team did, you could have easily wiped that. That fight could have been a 3-0. You know, you could have got 3 kills with no loss had you jump back in there with full health. Now, once again, Jaina reinitiating. You are the only person alive, so I don't suggest you chase her. This is kind of like earlier in the game where you dove in the mines a little bit blind, and I don't think that was the smartest move, nor do I think now it is, because look at what's happening. You are getting kind of chased out, and it's going to be super dangerous for you to even take out these mines or take out any of these skulls here, because, you know, exactly what's happening now. The Jaina has an intense amount of bursts. You're doing a good job of kind of juking around, but had they been a little bit more coordinated, you would have been dead already against pretty much any semi-competent, you know, coordinated team. Now, in quick match, our team's often coordinated, no, but you would have been dead a lot faster, most likely. You most likely would have gotten killed for that. So they are getting a relatively big golem right now, and they are already racking up a ton of skulls, and your team's kind of late into the mine. So this is a difficult situation to be in. Kind of goes back to the, hey, yeah, I mean, sometimes your team doesn't always do what you want to do, but here, the enemy team are all at half health, if not the majority of them at half health, and you do have the majority of your team with you, and it appears as if, I'm going to guess that a couple of them are, or the remaining 2 are at the golem, or, oh, maybe not. Okay, wow. They're actually pushing back here, but that actually worked out. That was super, super lucky for you guys, because had the Tassadar and Murky been there, that could have potentially went the complete other way, and they could have got a huge skull golem that could have potentially finished you off. However, it wasn't the case, so good on you guys, and I'm happy for you guys. I really am. So now, once again, another one of those times where you're kind of being indecisive. You have you have 4 people on your team alive. They have 2. So you have a great opportunity now before the golem come out to take some camps, be it the bruiser camp in the middle or the siege camp, which you could do after when the golem comes up, and then it can start attacking that golem. And, you know, you had the opportunity for that. Now, no one went for that. And I understand, like I said, you can't always expect your team to know what to do, but it's important for you to know so that you could possibly ping it and, you know, tell the team, you could lead them and say, hey, this is what we need to do. So it's good to, you know, let you know that that would be a good play right now, because you could have gotten that bruiser camp even before their enemy golem came up. Now, you did have a couple of options here. They were all down for quite a bit. So you had a couple of seconds where you guys could have, you know, went for the core uncontested. But instead you opt to defend. I don't necessarily agree with sending everyone to defend. I mean, you guys did defend this keep just in time, but you really could have been, like I said, pushing your lead, getting a Merc camp, and it appears as if Rehgar kind of wants to do that, but he doesn't really know exactly what he wants to do. and he's just going to get chased out, so kind of a waste there. But had your whole team been there, you could have, made some moves there. So you got to think about what's the opportunity cost. Maybe you would have lost this fortress, but at the same time, you could have, very likely, pushed down the core and won. Now, of course, had you lost the fight, that would have been bad, and what would you lose? They would take the merc camps, they would take the bruises, they would take the siege camp, and potentially push down this keep, if that. But that's really all they would get from it. And you had a really, really great chance at pushing down the core, which obviously is the point of the game, and it would have been a lot more valuable than that. So, yeah, you guys doing a good job of cleaning up and fighting, and you guys are, I mean, it seems like you guys are having a good time in fights. You're not struggling at all, so once again, that core push would have been a good move to go for. Now, it looks like your team just getting caught out of position here. Nothing really you could do here as far as Rehgar, other than heal them up, stay in range to heal them up. You're just completely, in the lane and not really doing much. But, okay, there we go. So, good job on your team pushing forward. I'm not sure what you're looking for, though, going back. You really should be an aggressor in this situation. Let's see. Let me see what challenge you took. Okay, so I don't see Feral Lunge. Feral Lunge would have been, I believe that's what it's called, but Feral Lunge is super, super good, especially when you are the only front line or the only aggressor, because you really can chase down targets that otherwise your team wouldn't be able to clean up, and it really allows you to be the front line that your team so desperately needs, considering you don't have a tank or warrior or any sort of melee other than yourself. But yeah, so good job. You guys are pushing down the core, getting that win. So overall, not terrible, but obviously just work on those points that I said, and you will definitely improve quite a bit. It's more so a matter of not wasting your time idly and keeping in mind the map, the map positioning of both your team, the enemy team, when to push your advantage, when not, and you should be good. So yeah, good game. Thanks for the submission, G-Love. I do appreciate it. And with that said, thanks for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. I hope this was kind of insightful for you, maybe newer to intermediate players, maybe even some of you advanced players out there. But if you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like rating. It would mean a lot to me. It helps my channel grow. Subscribe if you're new for some more Heroes of the Storm content such as this and a lot more other things, live commentaries, shoutcasts, play-by-plays. And with that said, thanks for watching. Peace!